I was watching a classic movie, The Mighty Ducks. And as I actually started taking notes while I was watching it, how fucking absurd. And granted, we know kids' movies are absurd. I know that. But there are things about this movie that are like fucking really weird, and I still love them to death. I want to go say that going into it. We're gonna trash them. I still love them to death. But I'm gonna start with one thing of mine. Adam Banks.
Wow.
We're adults now, right? That situation is 100% fucked up. We all know what I'm talking about, right? That
Like,
because there was errors in the way the district lines were drawn. Bombay's like, okay, well, fair play. He has to come play for us, forgetting that he has lifelong friends on the Hawks. He has been with this team forever, and pulling him halfway through the season for some bullshit thing. That's
Glenn,
fucked up.
Glenny, lifelong friends. They fucking turned on him the moment
That
he was on
that's
another team.
that,
That is not
you cut me
friendship.
off. You beat me up. You cut me off. No, so that's even more fucked up. And we're gonna get to Riley. We're gonna get to Coach Riley. That like I played sports growing up. I'm pretty sure we all did. I had friends on the other teams. Like I didn't want to beat the shit out of them 3 years later because they beat me in the championship. Those kids were fucking psychopaths.
wait, you mean decapitate them with fishing line?
Yes, they were psychopaths being coached by a psychopath. We're gonna get to Riley. We're have a whole conversation about Riley, Coach Riley. But so that's the I wanted to lead with Banks. If you guys have any other shit, I wanted to lead with that whole. As a kid, I was like, yeah, he needs to join the Ducks because he's really good. Then as an adult, I was like, what kind of fucking trauma are we giving this kid by ripping him away from his friends? Like, he has to go play with these kids who all fucking hate him. And then his best friend in the world takes him out of the fucking game. Banks needed years of therapy. I hope he got it.
He did, and then he like in the next movie he got his wrist broken.
And then in the third, he gets put against his friends again. The Ducks all finally love him, and then he gets on varsity. Banks had a rough go, man.
Having seen Game Changers both seasons, I can safely say I don't think he got that therapy. But
I wanted to point something out. It's not really it's kind of absurd now in retrospect. But did anybody notice that there was part of the offense called the Oreo line that was made up of two black guys and a white guy?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I forgot about that.
It was the 90s.
When I was a kid, I didn't think about it, and then when I watched it again in my 20s, I was like, oh, that's what I meant. Cool. Not only are they white guys in a black uniform, a constant trope, they're also racist.
I do love and this is just when you going back to kind of just the Banks thing for a second, because the only part of this that I will defend now, I agree, like that child is fucked up. He's probably a serial killer, which I'm assuming is why they didn't make Game Changers season 3, because he probably just murdered the whole team.
They're all dead.
But I do, the only thing that makes it kind of funny and somewhat logical and real to me is how fucking petty parents and coaches actually are when it comes to games that literally don't matter, because
Pee-wee hockey,
nothing about Pee-wee hockey matters to anyone.
Says the guy who didn't get to go to the Olympics the following year. Clearly, you know nothing.
We haven't gotten to that leap yet.
Dude,
I don't
yeah,
think
The Goodwill Games will disagree with you.
Let's stick to number one. I almost went on my own rant. Number one for now. We'll get to number two. Oh yeah, but so this is something that I didn't notice until this watch, because I do like put these movies on in order like every now and then. So again, going back to when I was a kid playing sports, because we have to go back to when we were kids, because now with like technology and communication is different. But like, there's no way in hell a coach is going to come to my fucking door to apologize to me. You know what I'm saying? That seems like a small thing, but like, so Bombay tries to get them all to cheat. Charlie's like, fuck you. And then Bombay goes to his apartment to apologize. That that seemed a little. When I watched it the other day, it seemed off to me. I was like, I've been chewed out and spit out by a lot of my coaches. They wait till the next practice, pull me aside. Hey, I was rough on you. Like I made a mistake.
You got that? Weird.
And then they went back to chewing me out and spitting. But the point is, like, that kind of, it makes sense for the story, and they have to make the little romantic relationship with the mom. But just this time around, I was like, that's kind of fucking weird to me. A phone call, maybe?
Sounds like you had some bad coaches, Mike. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Your coaches were just coming to your door every day?
Well, to be fair, I had one coach. I played on one sports team, and we were the District 5 of Little League basketball. We lost every game. But the only thing I remember about it was at the end of the season, we all got that little participation trophy and a pizza party. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, everything about Gordon Bombay is just absolutely ludicrous. Like, just even for the 90s, when you take a step back and you're just like, no court in their right mind would ever allow this man within 50 feet of a school. Like, no fucking way would that be something that happens. Like, so that's not even a punishment. Like, that is already against the law in some way.
Dude, so the guy gets a fucking DUI, and for community service, let's get him around kids.
Just bring that up. But I'm pretty sure they just have him go pick up garbage like the rest of them. Like, why does he get to work with kids?
He needs to learn fair play.
Okay. I think that was also, I think the firm Duckworth, I think, had a lot to do with that. It seemed like he was very connected, and so I think they made that happen to where he was able to get that cushy community service job.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of that, like the whole, like, we're going to fire you if you don't drop this kid's in the wrong district thing. But what? Why do you even fucking care?
There's a lot of Cobra Kai kind of attitude going on. We're like, this shit is not that important. Like, I think Gordon Bombay, Emilio Estevez broke the fourth wall with that line. He's like, are you prepared to lose your job over this? And he's like, are you prepared to fire me over this? Like, all right. Anyone else have a gripe? I have a list.
Let's go. This is your ice rink. We're just skating on it, Mike. Let's go.
I only have notes for the first one. The second one, free for all.
Okay, how old do you think Bombay was when he did this movie, or Gordon Bombay was when? Yeah,
probably 30s. Yeah,
late 30s, and then he goes to play professional hockey.
Yeah,
in the minors.
He was this close to the NHL.
This close.
So Gordon Bombay, granted, my last note on this is about Riley. I think Danny will know where I'm going with this possibly.
Mm-hmm.
So Bombay missed a shot when he was like 12 years old, and that put this guy on a trajectory. That is an inflection moment. Had he missed that, or if he made that goal, or if Riley wasn't a psychopath, he could have been in the NHL by now. Anyway, that was just something I kind of thought about.
I mean, I don't want to be contrarian, except that I do, but
Please.
One might look at it that Riley set him on a path to success. He was a very successful lawyer.
That is true.
Who got a little drunk.
I was going to say, but he was
also a couple drinks. That was it.
He was also an alcoholic because he missed a shot when he was like 11. So, you know, what's the give and take there?
He had one DUI. That doesn't make him an alcoholic.
No, fair.
It's like the first thing he does. No, it's the first thing he does when he gets in the limo is find the goddamn minibar.
It just occurred to me, I don't know, Mike, maybe it was something you said. It just occurred to me, like, if someone's like, what's wrong with millennials these days? Like, study Bombay's life, where he missed a shot when he was 12 years old, and it's fucking ruined his life. He drinks. He can't, relate to anyone. That's what it's like being a millennial.
It really is how we explain anxiety, how we explain depression, how we explain generational trauma.
That's the whole plot of Cobra Kai. Like, Johnny got in his face, and then it ruined his entire life.
Pretty much. All right. Let me next up here. Banks' dad's a piece of shit. I think we could just agree to that. Even when his son switches teams, he shows up, sits with the other team, and wears the other team shit.
And roots for his son.
He is the definitive like parent that gets way too involved in sports that don't matter. Like
my other sons were Hawks. All of his friends are Hawks. It's fucking hockey. I already said the Gordon Bombay thing. So this is not a gripe. It was just, it's 90s. They don't pay attention to stuff. So when Banks walks, I actually started laughing out loud though. When Banks walks in for the first time, it's a duck. And there's a whole scene, and they all do the walkout on him. Most of them don't have their fucking shit. Like, they're not carrying their sticks, their helmets, nothing. And so I think I brought up, even when we would do Jack of All Nerds every now and then, like, I have this concept in my head of like scenes we didn't see. And one of them, after watching it, and that's why I started laughing, is Banks getting dressed, and then all of them coming back in like, yo, can we just grab our shit real quick? Sorry, we made this big deal, but it was just not a big deal. Just a small little detail I noticed. I was like, oh, none of them have their helmets. Oh, their sticks. So here's one that I would actually like everyone's opinion on. I forgot his name. The limo driver.
Oh yeah,
MC Gainey.
Is that really his name?
That's his real name, MC Gainey.
All right, let's call him Gainey. Gainey sticks around after
he becomes a team mom.
After Gordon's it didn't really click to me till I was like, why is he still here? The company's not paying for him anymore. What's he doing?
Little did you know, he was also doing community service.
It's benign. It means nothing. But at one point, I think it's during the championship, they're winning, and he's on the ice hugging all the kids, and I was like, why are parents kind of asking who this guy is? They know who Bombay is.
He was the assistant coach at that point, I guess. I mean, who knows?
He had his own jersey.
That's a glow up. I mean, limo driver to assistant coach to a Pee Wee hockey team. That's a talk about self-improvement.
But I remember when he's first driving, he's talking about like how he has a hearing problem because he used to drive all these rock stars. And I was like, this is the spinoff we needed. Was an origin story for Gainey. All right. Not a big deal, but just kind of a funny moment. So if you remember, I think it's going into the championship game. Banks goes in and Jesse's like, hey, don't forget what side you're on. And Bombay's like, he's a duck, Jesse. Banks was playing center. No, nothing. Don't forget what side you're on. He was playing center.
Yeah.
You don't pick a side. You're center.
That's not what it means, dude.
What does it mean then? Maybe I don't understand hockey.
Yeah, what team? Don't forget what team you're on.
I took it the other way this entire time.
Jesus. Oh, really?
I honestly always thought like he's the new guy, so he's like, yo, don't forget to do this shit. That's how I always thought about it.
No, bro. No.
Well, all right.
No.
I should stop then.
Oh wow.
Editing that. That's my movie. The movie that's not good. That's my.
Oh yeah, we'll put that under there with Ghosted and Dr. Doolittle.
And I'm just gonna bring this up. It's not really absurd, but I mean, given nowadays, Jussie Smollett played Jesse's brother.
Oh yeah,
in that movie.
Yeah,
and he actually got picked on.
Yeah.
All right, last one before we go to Riley, and this one's going to be a common theme throughout all three discussion. Charlie's not the heart of the team. Bombay wanting to fuck his mom is not an excuse to make him that. And so a notable moment when they're like, penalty shot, anyone on the ice can take it. Who's taking it? Everyone's like, Guy should take it. Guy should take it. What about Charlie? And everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, there's not been a wave of disappointment stronger than that.
Is it one of the kids? Does he actually say, what about Charlie?
It's like, what about Charlie? And then when Charlie goes to take the shot, everyone's all of a sudden chanting his name. I was like, 10 seconds ago, you had no faith in this man.
I will say it's a very common theme throughout the movie that these children, and they should be obviously, but like they're incredibly forgiving because the amount of walkouts that they do on Bombay, led by Peter, by the way, who nobody remembers because he doesn't show up in the second one, but that kid that kid is a demon. Like that is like, that kid is
even when I was
definition of a brat.
I hate that fucking kid.
Even when I was you know how when you're a kid and you're an adult, you change your stance. Even as a kid, I didn't like that little fucker.
Oh yeah,
Like,
he is a little shit. But the amount of times that like they walk out and then like the next scene, Bombay's like, "I'm sorry," and they're like, "We're just joshing you, bro. We'll show up."
No, 100%. And so my final thought on this, Coach Riley, adjusted for inflation, I think he is the most evil son of a bitch to exist in any Disney movie. Adjusted for inflation. Because obviously it's a different world, but if you put
state your case.
I just think if you put some of the shit he did in that movie in context, like if he was an emperor or if he was a wizard in a live action movie, if you like adjust the situation to fit each different scenario, he's a fucking monster. Like he is this man has been coaching Pee-wee hockey with no child for 20 years.
Maybe longer.
And the thing is, I know dudes who've done that. Like when I played Pop Warner football, there was the top two levels. I forgot the terms for it. It might have been junior Pee-wee and Pee-wee. But the junior Pee-wee, there was a fucking loser who lived with his mom who coached that team every year. I remember that guy. He's a fucking weirdo. The next level up was actually like retired high school football coaches who just genuinely did it. And so the city gave them the top team every year because like they were just coaches who wanted to coach, and that was fine. But Riley, like, what does he do for work? Like, what is you don't get paid to coach Pee-wee hockey, and so he's been.
I think he was getting paid.
Yeah, by those parents.
I'm sure he was getting kickbacks of all kinds. So
okay,
I think he had a whole racket.
You saw how well funded that team was.
Yeah.
There's you're making my case.
Yeah,
like he's got shit going on.
Yeah, extortion, racket. He's clearly connected because he gets a whole firm to get involved in whatever's going on in Pee-wee hockey. So clearly he's got some maniacal strings that he's pulling on.
Well, and again, that's supposed to be the divide between District 5 and the Hawks is that like obviously their district is the rich kids, the rich parents. So that's why you have this team that is well funded and has all the cool, flashy uniforms and stuff like that. So there's definitely some significance to that.
No, sure. And then so you go on. So there's that. He still holds this stupid ass grudge for Gordon Bombay that's like decades old. And then he pretty much ordered an assassination on Banks. From his friends. Like, even for a kid's Disney movie, like, that is fucking psychotic. If a coach ever did that in real life, like, at that level, so I know, like, in the NBA, sometimes they're like, yo, go out there and fall on his leg. It has to happen. But, like, that is psychotically evil.
All he said was he wanted him out of the game. He didn't say they had to do it that way. They could have taken him out for drinks.
Want another Yoo-hoo, Adam?
But yeah, so there's that, and then
what did you do? My job.
Fuck that kid.
Said it like he was the fucking Terminator, by the way. Like,
right. And then after he fucking murders Banks, he's like unapologetic about it. At least the other kid had some remorse. Like, what did you do? That kid was just like, well, he's pretty much Darth Maul at this point. Mm-hmm. And he goes to the box. And at first you see Riley kind of like, oh shit, what happened? And then when he goes to the box, he gives him that thumbs up like, good fucking job. Like, you're rooting for the fucking kid to be injured? That's psychotically evil. Adjust to inflation in these other Disney movies, he would be far worse than any of their villains. 100%.
I gotta disagree. And I know Danny agrees with me because he called him a hero when we were talking a while back. He doesn't remember, but he did.
I think my memory's pretty good.
If Riley didn't do the stuff that he did,
fuck you.
They would not go on to the Goodwill Games. Okay.
Fuck you.
Bombay would have gone on to play professional hockey. He would have gotten his teeth knocked out, been retired at 30, whatever. Those kids would have never known his compassion.
Hitler wasn't that bad. The UN was formed after it. There was new alliances. They brought in a new government.
First off, last time I checked, Hitler didn't create the Mighty Ducks, so
he didn't traumatize a kid for missing a shot.
I mean,
look,
that's because Hitler killed that kid before he got to make the shot.
And his name was Goldberg.
Top of the list, baby. Top of the list. Wow. This. Shit.
You're off the team.
Wow. Okay. Well, what I was gonna say is, in this day and age, I feel like this is the perfect time to turn Riley into an anti-hero and make an entire series about how he was actually justified in all of the. We've just been looking at it wrong. This whole, give him the fucking Venom treatment, the Craven treatment, just make him just make him a good guy.
His father was an abusive coach.
Yeah.
Let's see that. His childhood, and then 3 episodes of his childhood, 3 episodes of teenagers, 3 episodes of college, and then when he coached Bombay.
But then we find out everything was in service of Bombay, and he just wanted Bombay to be great. And he's the reason that he brought him back into hockey, because he always knew his potential. Guys, if we're ever gonna do it, this is the age to do dumb
Are we
shit
all
like
are we all
that.
caught up on the bear?
Mm-mm.
No, okay, never mind then. There's a reference I was gonna make, but never mind. Yeah, I mean, there's that. And I just, every time I watch this movie now, I just put Riley in the perspective if he existed in real life, and I'm like, this guy would be reported every year.
Yes, that is true. And
because I've been on teams where coaches got reported and they were fired immediately for whatever reason. And the psychological torture he has on these kids is fucking amazing to me. But he wins championships.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I would say that he didn't abuse them in a way that would get him reported. He's a very smooth, manipulative character. When you see the flashbacks of him with Gordon, the way that he manipulates him into feeling guilty, it's masked in this go out there, this is your chance to win it for us kind of a way. No parent would see that and be like, hey, he abused my child. And even after he missed the shot, the coach is just looks away in this very dismissive, you're like your father, you just disappointed your dad. That's the kind of manipulation he's working on. So
you're kind of making my point about the villain thing.
No, I mean, he's absolutely a villain. I'm just going to be contrarian to be contrarian, but he is a great villain though. That's the thing.
Oh, he is 100%.
He is. And then they were like, well, we got to ramp this up in the second one. So give him an accent. And then just.
So moving to the second one.
I do, real quick though, I did love, because this whole conversation started in our chat where you were like, oh, Fulton can't skate. Let's take him to the Mall of America.
What the fuck?
That's just the producer saying, hey, we have the Mall of America. Let's fucking use it.
Yeah. When you said that, I was like, yeah, no, this movie makes no goddamn sense. I love it with all my heart, but
Derek, you don't know how to swim? Mike, Danny, let's go drop him off in the fucking ocean.
We'll just swim the English Channel, bro. Let's go.
It's one of those things that just occurred to me when I watched it the other day. I was like, that's kind of a leap. What? All right.
A lot of the techniques that are used in the movies to train people to do skills are ridiculous.
Retarded. Yeah.
Eggs.
Soft hands.
Hi, let me just spend an hour to stack up cans to see if you can stop him.
Dude, the whole flying V thing, that is stupid. And I'm pretty sure illegal, depending on who has the puck.
I think most of their techniques are actually illegal in actual games. Every single thing that they do, especially when you get to D2. D2, there is no fucking
D2
way
heightens that up.
They would play one game and everyone would be like, no. Replace all of them.
One, you're doing witchcraft is what you're doing. 2, the fuck out of here. We're transitioning number 2. I gotta say, that Jan's thing, the can thing. Mike, did you say? I forgot who said it. Dude, as a kid, that was fucking hilarious. Oh man, the old man has to put the cans back up. Now I was like, you fucking hit the cans? He has to rebuild them now?
If
Jesus
only
Christ,
there were
that-
like lines on the ice that he could stop before crossing, you know? I wish they would just
Well, for fuck's sake, even if you needed a physical object, just turn the goal around. Like fucking.
Apparently churning is
Caught in
also
the
hard
net,
for him
it's
too.
fine. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But okay. Okay. So the two kids from now 3 kids because they added the blonde that were on the Hawks. Like the championship win was a fluke. Come on, look, it's a fluke.
Mhm.
So I think one of you guys said it in the chat how just overnight all these fucking kids who barely made the champ or barely won the championship are elite. God knows why. So the Hawks are still the better team. And again, going back to Riley, and so these now 3 kids are so fucking mad about it that they're gonna do serious damage. Just in my head, I was like, that's some evil shit. That's Riley. That's Riley's touch in this one. But yeah, going back to it, I think Derek, you said it. You won a fucking Pee Wee championship by a hair. The Minnesota Miracle Man.
And by
Like-
forfeit and the flu. Like it's like
The
two
measles.
of those teams. Like, come on.
I don't blame the other little rat pack. I'm blanking on their names. The guy who can't stop, Portman,
yeah.
Julie the cat. I wouldn't blame them for being pissed off at the Ducks because like they're elite, and we have to play with this Pee Wee team that
And so-
barely won a championship.
So you were able to get 5 people from around the country, but not fill out the rest of the roster from around the country. You had to go get this team from Podunk, Minneapolis, to round out your all-star team to give you the best chance of winning these games.
And it also doesn't
Yeah.
really make sense because it's not the full team either.
It's not. It's like
you know, I
half.
mean, obviously Peter was in jail for killing a dude, but that's you know,
Clark
didn't
was
even
dead.
Peter was murdered by Bombay.
but we didn't even get a line of dialogue explaining it.
So
Yeah,
I do
because like
kind
what's
of
Jesse's brother disappears, like the bunch of the characters are just gone,
Yeah.
and then we replace some of them with stand-ins, like the figure skater girl from the first one gets replaced with Kenny Wu.
Mhm.
You know, it's because honestly, I love D2 probably more than the first one, but
D2 is my favorite.
D2 is just the Mighty Ducks over again.
Mhm.
The plot structure is the exact same.
Yeah.
100%.
There's like no difference.
I do. So I remember we don't have to get into it, Danny. If you remember, like years ago, we were going to do like a Mighty Ducks thing, and so I kind of looked into it. I'm willing to forgive the characters going away, as like a lot of these leagues are structured to where it's like this level is like 7th and 8th grade, this level is 5th and 6th grade. So I'm willing to be like, okay, a lot of those kids that weren't included were like the younger ones, so maybe they're not at the level anymore. And as far as the figure skater girl, she never wanted to play hockey, so she's out as soon as it's done. That's how I kind of in my head justify it. Like, all right,
The quickest comparison that I have is and because Mike, you're absolutely right. They're literally the same movie, like shot for shot, scene for scene, like they are the same movie. And the way that I actually look at it is it's like Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. Where like they're the same. It's just one's just being remade with more money, and like that's kind of what D2 is. So it's all the people that like have actual recognizable child actor faces that they keep as leftovers that like were more stars. Peter, nobody gave a shit about, so they just like pretended he didn't. Like nobody talks about him. Nobody talks about the brother that just mysteriously disappears. Like you can absolutely make the argument that like the figure skater girl's not there because she never wanted to play, and that's perfectly fine. But like, where the fuck is your brother? Like
they could have passed it off with like a really quick line. Like Bombay could have said like, okay, yeah, we couldn't bring all these guys in because of the age limit or something. Like they could have explained it off briefly.
The whole family is there at the final game to watch their children. And they're
not flying to LA. That's a poor neighborhood. They're not flying to LA to watch their children. They go to LA real fast. They don't want to bring that up.
They do.
That is true. The parents are there. There's no
no brother, no sibling.
Just the dad or whatever.
Fuck that movie.
It's so honestly, all this
I still love it. I love it.
And this is one of the things I just love about doing stuff like that, especially for like 90s movies, because 90s movies are just
It's
man,
chaos.
we lived in a time like they was just an absolute free for all, man. And,
I'm gonna see if I can find the picture from this movie, Mike. I think you know the picture I'm talking about, but go ahead and keep talking. But I'm gonna try to find this picture.
But honestly, all of this, like breaking it down and just talking about how absolutely fucking ridiculous it is, how none of this makes sense, none of this would ever happen. It's illogical, even for an illogical movie that like requires you to suspend belief. There's only so much, like it pushes the limits of that. I literally just want to stop podcasting, and now I want to go watch the Mighty Ducks.
I'm definitely putting it on when we're done. I love these. I love the movies.
I just want to watch them now. Like,
yeah. So what else about this? Yeah. So one, the whole going straight to the Olympics thing as the Ducks is fucking retarded. Like, if that's all you have to be your state's miracle man, I know a lot of them, who've done things like that. Like, it's kind of ridiculous. What? Okay, yeah. So even as a kid, this bothered me. Who gives a fuck if he got ice cream with the Iceland chick? Who gives a fuck? Like, and then not to mention Gordon like acts all sly about it, like, oh no, I just went to bed early. I didn't do anything. Like, what? It's
because he knows it's gonna piss off his kids.
Yeah,
but like, yeah, his kids are there, like, we're at war with Iceland. It's like, okay. But here's the picture I was talking about, and this is one of the absurd things that we noticed. We did a rewatch of this, and get out of the way here. Read that woman's shirt.
I do remember that. For those just listening, her shirt in the audience. I'm too sexy to be right-handed. I remember that we happened to spot that, and we're like, that's just a weird shirt to allow on set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does feel extremely 90s though. It
really does.
Yeah.
Like everything about that shot just screams 92. Like
from Kenan Thompson and the woman who's now 40 who has that shirt in her closet still.
Yep.
Yep. So let's talk about Kenan Thompson's character. How
I just love Mike's head nod of like, oh Jesus.
Well, one,
how's he able to join the roster?
He comes in way late in the game, probably not legal. Two, listen, I'm going to sound mildly racist here, but I'm pretty sure a lot of black dudes aren't playing street hockey in LA.
Well, that's it. I was going to say that when Danny brought up the Oreo line from the first movie, I was like, the playful racism carried over into 2.
Yes, it did.
Because that whole street hockey sequence.
And they doubled down, apparently.
But I think
tag team, no less.
Yeah, with tag team. Yeah.
I just, as a kid, I didn't catch it, but getting older, I was like, they're hooping.
Oh,
like
yeah.
This isn't Minneapolis. They're not playing street hockey.
Even
on the basketball court. On the basketball court.
And that's basically the replacement, right? Like it's that whole idea that like, because if you were making if this was instead of hockey, this was basketball, and you were doing the same thing, like them traveling to like LA or Rucker Park in New York and like seeing these kids who are just absolutely incredible because they play street ball all day, it would make a lot of sense. But no one, absolutely no one in Los Angeles, let alone the ghetto of Los Angeles, because that's exactly where you are, let alone no child is playing stickball hockey on a basketball court in the middle of goddamn summer. Like, it's not happening. I'm sorry.
Let's address one more thing that then we'll get off the slight racism. How is this kid affording these tickets? He's at every fucking game, and those are not cheap tickets. And he's by himself. Where are the parents? Well, again, slight racism.
Well, have you seen Paycheck? Not Paycheck. Sorry,
Blank Check.
Have you seen Blank Check? He's in a blank check situation.
Got you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's his own boss, Macintosh. So it's fine.
This was his dream. This is what he wanted to spend his $1 million on.
Right. I ain't got no brother. Oh, we meet your brother later.
Season tickets to the Junior Goodwill games.
Just to heckle Team USA.
Yeah.
Just to heckle the team representing your country.
I do love Jesse's responses to him because Jesse's pretty much like, "What's fucking wrong with you? Get out of here!" Like,
Well, clearly they hadn't seen his knuckle puck.
yes, the knuckle puck.
Listen, I am not even gonna look. We're just gonna get it out there. I have actually tried when I was a kid.
Derek, we've all tried it.
We've all tried a knuckle puck.
And look, you can do it. It's not an impossible shot. Is it 100% every time? No, but it is not impossible to make the puck do that. It is impossible to make the puck do a wanted bullet move where it like goes like he hits it and it goes over individual hockey players and does a roller coaster and then knocks out the goalie to score. That is something I was never able to replicate.
Why was that ever encouraged? Because when the first time they see it, and they're like, "What the heck was that?" And he's like, "It's my knuckle puck." He's like, "Hard to be accurate," but and then whatever the rest of the line is,
drives
like,
the goalies crazy. Yeah.
The key line there is hard to be accurate.
Okay, you remember their best shooter on the team is 1 out of 5, right?
Yeah, 1 out of 5.
Yeah, but the other 4 are going to knock the goalie the fuck out. So
you have to have someone there to rebound. That's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? Fucking. So the Iceland coach, I actually, as a child, for some reason, thought it was the same player who hurt Bombay in the minors.
Yeah, that would have made a little bit.
It doesn't make sense. Just as a child, I just thought it was the same person.
Yeah.
That guy is also a psychopath. Not quite as Riley psychopath, but just like they talk about it, how he tried to like he punched it out of his own coach.
He just has like a temperament issue or some shit.
Dude who is the Hendricks hockey guy.
Mm-hmm.
Funny as a kid, quite annoying as an adult.
Oh, very annoying. But I want to say it was the point of his character. Like he's supposed to be annoying.
I feel like it's one of those things as a kid. I thought it was funny.
Nobody likes.
He's also a corporate shill. Like
I was gonna say nobody likes a PR rep. No one.
Yeah.
Where can we go with this?
Yeah,
Banks gets hurt again.
He turned on him real quick when it's like, you guys are the best, and then they like lose one game, and he's like,
I don't know, man.
Can't spin this one.
I do love the scene where he introduces Bombay to the celebrities, and like Bombay is trying to pitch his shoe for kids that want to coach his Air
loafer
or whatever. That's a loafer.
So Air Bombay loafer.
I didn't catch it till this last watch. They actually revisit that in a later scene.
Do they?
When do you remember the scene when Gaffney walks in saying like I want to play?
Mm-hmm.
When she walks in, he's on the phone and he's like, yeah, for like kids who want to coach. I forgot the exact line, but I never caught it before. And then this last watch, I was like, oh shit, that came back. All right.
Yeah. You brought up a couple of things about like just the overall implausibility of all of it. The
Jamaica having a hockey team.
Yeah,
they had a bobsled team.
Cool run-ins. The makeup of the team, the whole like bringing in the one kid at the end to fill in, but then like there's the scene where Bombay just doesn't fucking show up to the game, and they're like, "Hey, you can't play without a coach," and he's just like, Miss McKay, that's our coach, Coach McKay," and she's just like, she's got a look that clearly says, "I am not the coach." And he's like, "Come on, like we got," and then she's like, "Yeah, go get the thing or whatever." And it's like, you didn't smell something right there? Like that was all bullshit.
It's like, dude, you like as a ref in this organization, you know who the coaches are and who they're supposed to be.
Yeah, don't you have to have that like registered, like your coach or assistant coach? To
defend the ref, and I this goes for the ref in the first one too. The refs in these movies just don't give a fuck.
No,
they don't call shit. If you remember in the first one when they did the walkout on Bombay and only Charlie and Fulton came out, and Bombay was like, they're just in there, they're in there pumping themselves up. And then when the two of them came out, he's like, really rounding themselves up, huh? Okay, it's just like they don't care. They don't give a fuck. So they
so
see
you're
is that your
saying-
coach? Fine, cool. I don't care.
You're saying that the refs are the only people in these movies that know they're reffing for Pee-wee hockey.
They are self-aware. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
They're the only ones that are in the game, just like, fuck, I can't wait to get home and go to the bar. This is a goddamn nightmare.
As long as I don't make a bad call, no one will remember me. I just won't make any calls.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what they do. They literally like their hands are forced because a hand gets broken. Like that's the only time they're like, oh shit.
And even then, that guy's not ejected. That guy's not disqualified from the game. He just goes to the box for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like that was bodily injury. That was targeting, man. Like that wasn't a oopsie. I slashed him.
Yeah, that
All
wasn't
right.
high sticking. Like he straight up freaking like it was an
The play was
ass.
over. The play was over. I do like it's like, oh, he pulled out a fucking a rope.
A rope.
All right, call it. Blow the whistle. He brought a rope out. I guess we
But
have to do something.
I like that they care so little that they're just like, no, just let this go on for a little bit. Let me just see what he does.
Like that would be an instant ejection from the game because there was probably too many guys on the ice. He came out without a helmet on, and he roped a guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Derek. Admittedly, if you're the ref and you see a kid hop out onto the ice with a lasso, you're gonna be like, let's see how this plays out.
Like,
Well, what's
hold on,
he gonna
hold
do?
on. Hey, they're kids. Let them play. Let them play.
This is the most exciting game I've ever refed. Let him go.
Literally never happened before.
That whole final game is wild with everything that goes on.
There's like
They changed jerseys.
dude, there is like 1% actual hockey in this final game, and then everything else is just straight shenanigans. Like,
Also, it's okay. Danny just brought this up though. Let's talk about that because that is the most magic bullshit moment of this entire movie is them switching. They were already midway through the period break and they had to have their whole ducks fly together moment, right? They had to have that I'm such and such from this city. Like they had to do all that shit to get themselves hype. And then they managed to strip off the old uniforms and put on new uniforms before they had to be back on the ice. Get the fuck out of here.
What's
No
funny
way.
about that to me is the Iceland coach, his name's eluding me. The most
Wolf.
emotion Wolf, yes, the Wolf.
Wolf Danzig or something like that.
Stanson, the Wolf
It's
Stanson.
Stanson.
Something the Wolf
Yeah.
Stanson.
The
The most
dentist.
emotion he shows in that entire game is when they come out in the different jerseys. That's when he's like, "Ref, what the fuck? Like what? Like, what?" My kid just got lassoed. The Bash Brothers are fucking up my team, but the jerseys are unacceptable. This
or
is unacceptable.
when they put the wrong person, like another illegal, they put a kid Russ in Goldberg's
yes.
jersey.
You're
And
talking about a magic wardrobe change.
Hey!
Talking
That's
about
one of my-
magic wardrobe
it is-
change.
That is easily one of my favorite line deliveries in all of the Mighty Ducks. Just so over exaggerated, so over the top, so melodramatic. I love everything about that guy, from his facial expressions to the way the words come out of his mouth. Like I will say it in my head for no reason whatsoever. And I have for like 30 years. It's just the goalie. I love it. I love it. I don't know why.
Mike just brought that up. I never even thought about the fact before because like they do the huddle to disguise when they do the swap. But like, how the fuck did he get the goalie pads on? Like
It's not just a jersey, that's the pads. Like
yeah, he's
Yeah.
got the full pads.
if that happened today, there would be a cell phone camera like in the audience, like, wait, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Why is he almost naked?
Yeah, but is that because I know in hockey you can pull the goalie and have an additional
extra man.
on the ice.
Yeah, you can have an
But
extra man. Yeah.
But can you? I don't think you can disguise it. Like that's highly
No.
illegal,
No,
right?
they can't.
Yeah.
They can't be on the ice as
Because-
a goalie
because
and then
he's-
be
yeah.
a sixth man also.
Yeah, because
Like,
he's
that's
not actually the goalie, but he's dressed as the goalie with the goalie pads.
Yeah.
And then he
indicating that
still
he's
does the
goalie.
knuckle puck in all those
Yeah.
pads. Bullshit.
from end rink to end rink. By the way,
Yeah.
It was a longer shot. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's a rule saying the goalie can't shoot a shot.
No, there's no rule that says that a goalie can't
So-
shoot a shot.
Kind of like there's no rule that a golden retriever can't play basketball.
Wouldn't you have to? I mean, I feel like there's got to be certain rules. Like when the goalie has the goalie stick, he switches to a regular hockey stick to make that shot.
Yes.
You know, so
everything. I'm telling you, there is only 1% hockey that actually happens in this final game, and the rest is just nonsense, just absolute nonsense and chaos. I mean, and it's magic. It's absolute magic.
And the only saving grace of that is that the knuckle puck is known to be so accurate that you could do it from across the.
It comes full circle. The farther back you go, the more accurate it is.
Yeah. It literally, every time I see it, it just all I can think of is Wanted, where they curve bullets. Like that's because that's how it's filmed. Like it is literally filmed as if he is guiding the puck as it's going across the entire ring.
You're right, because it's not even like a consistent sine wave. It's like up, down, hold, down, up, down.
It is literally dodging like players on the ice. Like,
well, it's like if the screenwriter was like, hey, what if they could like curve the puck? Like, well, they don't like a curveball. They're like, no, they don't do that. Like, doesn't work that way. I think it does. Like,
I will say this. It is actually not if you're calling it a knuckle puck based on a knuckle ball, a knuckle ball doesn't have any rotation on it, and it's meant to confuse batters.
I don't think it was. I think it was just to give it a cool
name.
I think it was named after the knuckleball. I think it was named after the knuckleball.
Yeah, but like it's the opposite of a knuckleball because that thing is rotating.
Of course, Danny, it's a puck. Come on.
Duh.
Every shot with a puck is no rotation. What are you talking about? Yeah.
I mean, also like just hockey pucks in general. When you watch a hockey game, hockey is hard to be accurate to begin with regular shots. Even when you're close to the net, like there's so many shots on goal that miss. That's why games don't have insane scores. That's why I love movies like this where they have high scores or whatever near the end. I feel like these haven't been too bad with the scores feel somewhat realistic. But I mean,
it only goes up to like what, 5, I think.
Right? The first Iceland game was 12-1.
Yeah, that's
okay. All right. That's
12-1.
That's the exception. Outside of that, I agree with Maxwell.
Yeah, for the most part, they keep it somewhat grounded. So,
yeah,
what good times. What
have you guys ever seen a youth game like of soccer where it's like very one-sided, like 9-3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was on the team that scored 3. I know. Trust me, I've been there.
I've been on both sides.
I've lived the life. I know what it's like to be District 5. Never been the Mighty Ducks, but God, do I know District 5.
Same.
So the third movie, I suppose, my least favorite.
I want to say it's your least favorite because it's like the most real.
No, it's not.
I think it is.
No, there's a little bit. Look, it's as far-fetched as the rest of them, but it is far more believable that this is a junior varsity versus varsity type of thing than we have magically joined the Olympic team because we barely squeaked by in a peewee local tournament.
And because they were on the Olympic team, now they're getting into this prestigious school on scholarships.
And that's I could follow that trajectory.
Yeah, I can track that.
Them getting to the Olympics in the first place, no. But if they're already there, it makes sense that they would go to the school.
Can I just ask real quick? I know the basics, but I have not seen Mighty Ducks 3 since I first saw it because I did not care for it. So can somebody give me the broad strokes? I do remember they go to this private school. I know Bombay's not in the movie for most of it. They have a different coach. Wasn't there some like where they show up thinking they're hot shit because they're fresh off the Olympics? But then there's like something was like, but this is these varsity, they're way better. And it's like, are they though? They were playing against the best of the world, kind of thing. I don't really remember the plot of what at the school.
The main, they all go to the school. The school is quote unquote preppy, too preppy for them. And so it's mainly Charlie is now the main protagonist.
Are they on scholarships? Because how the fuck
They're on
They're on
scholarships.
scholarships. They're on
Yeah.
scholarships.
Okay, all right.
And Bombay went to this school as a teenager too. And I think he's probably the one that linked it up because he spoke at the ceremony when they got the scholarships. So Charlie's having a hard time. It's a new coach, and he thinks Bombay betrayed him. What's new? And so Charlie has a tough time. And then there's like one lesson every movie. Like this one is like defense. We got to play good defense. But Charlie, quote, I'm a scorer. And so he starts butting heads with the coach. The varsity's pissed off because they think these guys are a bunch of rednecks who don't belong. Charlie ends up quitting the team. Fulton follows him. They party up at the amusement park one day, and then Fulton's like, this wasn't a good idea. I'm going back. And Charlie's like, well, fuck you then. And then Hans dies because someone had to, I guess. And the last conversation he has was with Charlie, which Charlie's pretty much like, fuck the team, fuck Bombay, fuck that school. And then Hans dies, so Charlie now feels sadder. And then Bombay comes back around and wakes him up at 6 a.m. and pretty much is like, hey, you little shit, get the fuck up. And we're going to go do this, like, whole, like, you're going to change your attitude thing.
Come to Jesus meeting.
Yeah, kind of like the Charles Dickens thing with the ghost. So the first stop they go is they go to school, they watch the coach, because the coach dropped out of the NHL. And so Charlie's always like, he's a fucking washed out, blah, blah, blah. And it turns out he dropped out because he didn't want to start moving around the country because his daughter got hurt in a car accident and he wanted to stay local with her. So he's like, see, Charlie, he had what it takes. He just made a choice and he's a good guy. And Charlie's like, oh, man, I didn't know that. And then they go back to the hood. And then in the hood, there's all the Ducks. Like, see, the Ducks are just playing hockey, man. They're just the Ducks, man. Come on. And they all play hockey. Jesse's not around because Jesse's in prison. The real heart of the team, Jesse, should have been there. I had my own theory in that. But anyway, so they play hockey. And Charlie's like, that's what I needed. Hans had to die. I had to see the girl in the wheelchair ice skating thing. And then I had to play street puck with my boys. I'm back. So they go back to the school. And then they're on their way to the game, their next game. And Charlie steps on the bus. And the coach pretty much goes like, hey, you fucking quit. Get the fuck off my bus. Just kidding. He goes, yeah, Charlie, you apologize. Come on board. We don't have any of your fucking gear, but come on board. We're going to the game. And then one of the school people come on board. They're like, oh, by the way, y'all suck. Your scholarships are done. And he's like, you can't. This is my team. You're going to fire, like, get rid of them, get rid of me. He's like, all right, bye. By the way, my favorite character in the whole fucking movie is that guy.
The Dean?
The Dean is fucking fire. I love him. He plays both sides against each other. I love him absolutely. So then they're like, well, we're gonna fight this. So they apparently don't even go to the game. So they forfeited that game apparently.
Bombay comes back, right, as their lawyer.
Yeah,
as their lawyer.
He had gotten back into law and he's practicing law. That's why he's not coaching apparently.
No, he's running the Goodwill Games junior division.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, I think he just came back as like their rental lawyer because he wanted to.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't at least one of the kids, the other kids from out of state, with them at that college?
All of them are.
Oh yeah, all of them are,
except for Portman.
Even Russ.
Except for Portman, we'll get to that, but Portman's not there.
What? What? This school is in like Minnesota, isn't
it?
They have
dorms. They have dorms.
It had dorms.
I don't care. Like, why? How?
Wait, are you saying a black guy can't live in the cold? Jesse did.
It's not even about that. It's not even about that, and the fact that I don't like Kenan Thompson as an actor. Has nothing to do with that. It has to do with I'm talking to all the kids, all the extra kids from across the country. How the hell are they at this school?
They have
It's a good opportunity. It's a good opportunity.
It's a great school. That's where
Gordon
went.
I gotta say, I really have to commend Michael for this because this is by far and away the best fucking Wikipedia recap of a movie I barely remember I have ever heard, and I want you to carry this home all the way to the end because I am on board.
Mike left out a huge part of this movie, which is a prank war that goes on for the whole movie.
That's right.
I remember.
That's right. The varsity and the JV, if you will, they keep going back and forth, and it gets bad. And we can go into that later. But so pretty much the board says, and for some reason the entire team's allowed to sit in the boardroom with them. It's not even like an audience thing, like a city hall. They're all just standing around the table. And they're like, yeah, we all vote to get rid of your scholarships. And the coach is like, well, then our lawyer's in here. And he brings Bombay in, and the audience claps. And and Bombay's like, so here's your options, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, this is an illegal proceeding. He's like, not yet. And he pretty much says, if you fucking terminate their scholarships, I'm going to carry you guys into court for the next fucking decade. I think the quote is, even after these kids are long gone, I'm going to be in court with you. And they're like, oh, man.
It's all coming back. I remember this scene.
And they're like, oh, man. They're like, okay, let's re-vote. And the table pretty much goes, okay, yeah, we'll keep the scholarships. So now the kids know that nobody fucking wants them there, but they're stuck there on a technicality. Confidence. No trauma at all.
Well, basically,
Banks is on varsity. Banks is on varsity.
No, but here's what I was going to say. They turned the entire Mighty Ducks into Banks. Like they're all Banks, and they're there on a technicality when they're not wanted. The whole team is pretty now much, Adam Banks.
Yeah, pretty much everyone's like, okay, you're allowed to be here. You know we didn't want you here, but I guess you could stay. And then when the team walks out, the varsity are standing there, and they're like, well, you're allowed to stay here on a technicality, but like no one likes you. And we're like, okay, yeah, we know that. And then so all the while they're building towards this big like varsity versus JV showdown. And so they're like, we'll see you then, and you're gonna show, like, we're gonna show you how bad you are. And in my head, it's like, you're varsity, they're JV, you're supposed to win. Like, what? Anyway, and then so Charlie did the snippet there, and he's like, well, you had an advantage last time. Oh, they played a street game in anyway, big thing. And you had Banks. Banks was on your team, so you had an advantage. And they're like, well, fuck Banks, he's back with you. And Banks is like, why does this keep happening to me?
I mean, honestly, I feel like he would just be thankful he wasn't injured this time around.
I feel sorry for this kid. Like, if he's not getting fucked up by his former best friends, he's getting hacked by the Iceland team and tossed back and forth like a fucking child in a divorced marriage. Like, poor Banksy. And he's the only one that went pro, I'm confident. Well, you saw the show. Maybe he didn't. Anyway, or he became an artist because of all the trauma. So they go back. So the JV varsity showdown happens. They have this kid who's obviously a freshman, somehow is broadcasting it. Gets a hockey player to come out in a professional.
Yeah, Paul Correa. Paul Correa shows up
at halftime just to help him out. All right, cool. That school has some pull. So they play the game. It's a really rough game, and kind of what you're talking about with the accurate scoring. So the whole the emphasis the whole time was defense. So the game 0-0 the entire time. Gaffney, Mike, you might have missed this. Gaffney's actually the starting goalie now. Goldberg plays defense, so he's actually on the ice now. And so they're doing it, and then we say halftime. It's usually at the end of the second period.
That is halftime.
No, there's 3 periods.
Yes. Yeah. If there was a fourth period, you would have a break between second and third period.
My point is it's halftime, but it's not actually like in the half. That was my point. But the halftime scenes, if you will, they're all tired, and like the coach is like, yeah, you guys, you're fighting hard. They are bigger, and he's like, and all of a sudden the door opens, and Portman walks in, the enforcer. And he's like, hey guys, so my lawyer came to see me. Oh, after the hearing with the board, Bombay drops the things like, I have some business in Chicago I have to take care of, but I'll be back. It's Portman in Chicago because he didn't come. At the beginning of the movie, you found out that Bombay wasn't coaching and Portman was out. But Portman walks in his leather jacket, and he's like, yo, everybody, my attorney came and saw me, and apparently I had this fucking scholarship. I'm back, baby. And everyone's like, this is legal. Thankfully, we had a jersey for him. So he walks out.
That's another thing. They weren't playing in their school jerseys. They were playing in Ducks jerseys.
They changed the jerseys at the last minute.
Of course.
And thankfully the coach, maybe Bombay called him, said Portman's coming, have a jersey for him. Also extra pads. Here are the sizes. And so then he comes out and the game's changed and he's beating people up. And then he gets called for a roughing or some shit, and he gets in the penalty box and he starts stripping, and the adult women in the crowd go crazy.
Taking a dance class, Mike.
That's the dean. That's the dean's line. I love the dean. He's my favorite. And so they play, and it's 0-0. There's like 10 seconds left. Oh, I'm sorry. So it's a double penalty. It's a handy. Danny, give me it's a handicap. What's it called?
What?
When it's like 3 against 5 on the ice.
That's penalty.
No, but I mean it's called something. It's like a handicap or
Power play.
Power play. There you go. So the Ducks, if you will, have 3 players. The varsity have all 5. So the coach says, who's going on the ice? It's going to be Banks, Charlie, and Goldberg. And everyone's like, Goldberg? Just like they said to Charlie in the first one. No respect for the man. And then the final play, they're going around, they're defending, and Charlie goes on a fast break. His team's right behind him. He fakes out the goalie, and he passes it back to Goldberg, as the announcer says. Goldberg freaks out. The goalie's all juked, like faked out. It's a wide open. Last minute, shoots it in. 1-0. JV wins. Everyone's happy. Charlie makes out with a chick who hated him the entire movie.
And they changed the mascot of the school.
Good for you.
And then Bombay, just like the janitor and Rudy, Charlie looks up at the crowd, and there's Bombay, and he just does I think he does a slow clap, and then he walks away. And then of course he looks though before he walks away, and the banner comes down. It's now the entire school changes their mascot to the Ducks based on a verbal bet that Charlie made with the team captain after the board meeting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that'll hold up.
Yeah, that tracks.
Well, no, there was also a petition going around the school to change the mascot, and Charlie's girlfriend was running that campaign.
Touché. Maybe that's what it was. And then we're like, "Whoa, the Ducks!" And someone's like, "Bombay." In the game, and then the movie ends.
Yeah.
So so you said, is Jesse the only one out of from the D2 cast? Is Jesse
the only one
that doesn't come back?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't address it.
They don't address it.
They don't. They really don't. They don't address it. They address Portman, and that's it. Yeah, Jesse's just gone. Don't know where.
So weird.
Jesse's family's fucked up, man.
Conspiracy theory. What if the people under the stairs and the Mighty Ducks take place in the same universe? That's where his brother is in the second one, and then in this one, right? That all works, right? That okay, all right.
That tracks.
I think when like I was talking about earlier with Danny and I and a couple other guys, we're doing like this thing where we're gonna like do biographies of like their entire lives. I think the way I justified it was Jesse didn't have like the grades, and so he wasn't offered a scholarship, and he got and there was a big falling out, and that's why they don't even talk about him. I think that's kind of the way I justified it on paper.
But Fulton and Portman had the grades.
Hey, it was. They're also white, and it is a very white school.
That is very true. That is.
Yes.
I'll give you that. Again, the playful racism. It's back.
We'll let one in.
Yeah.
No, they made a joke. It was after one of the JV pranks. The varsity captain comes out and calls them all white trash, and Russ just looks at him and goes, "Excuse me, white trash?"
And I think the captain also says something like, "Oh, you're a little affirmative action team here."
Wow.
It's pretty overt.
Jesus Christ.
I do remember one prank from the movie, and that was when somehow the kids got a hold of liquid nitrogen and froze the entire locker room.
Well, they have a chemistry lab at the school,
and no proctors or chaperones,
and
or teachers.
nobody watching it.
Like that way, you can't. Like that shit's so dangerous. I would have to be locked up. Come on.
And then look at. I know this is a kids movie, and it's silly. I get it. So what the varsity team does is, I forgot what they do at first, but they freeze the varsity's clothes, and in response, they pretend like there's a tradition of taking them out to dinner. So they rack up this heavy steak and lobster meal, and then pretty much walk on the tab and make them pay for it. And I was like, okay, that's fucked up, but like I could see that being like, a prank. Then the fucking Ducks get fire ants and insert the fire ants into their bedrooms. I was like, Jesus Christ! Like as an adult, what? Like. I would be fucking furious. Yeah.
You forgot about the horseshit brownies.
Oh yeah, the horseshit. Like the Ducks went dirty. Like
yeah,
the Ducks went pretty dirty.
I was like,
they got
the alternate cut of this movie where the varsity team doesn't show up for the big game because they've been murdered, but it was a prank. Guys.
No, let's keep it traditional. They're all allergic to fire ants. It's a disease.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like no, I just remember. So
Honestly, it sounds like it just escalates into like a saw trap, and like the whole varsity team is just locked in a trap somewhere in a warehouse.
Well, they're strapped to the ice in the Zamboni with blades on it. Fucking runs them all over.
Let's compare. So the varsity team, the two pranks I remember, and you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, is that they put their clothes in the showers. When they had a game, they put their clothes in the showers, and then they took them out to dinner and walked on the tab to make them pay for it. The Ducks made them almost eat shit, froze their clothes, and then put fire ants in their beds. And then, not to mention Bull, I forgot his name in the movie, but the guy who plays Bull in Band of Brothers gets lassoed and dragged and fucking hogtied by the cowboy. Like, the Ducks are savage. Like, I'm kind of on the varsity side on that point.
Well, they are Team USA, so
yeah. So also, they can kind of just do whatever they want, right? That's the
and it's all fun and games. I fucking hated Charlie in this movie. I know, Mike, it's gonna be hard for you for a frame of reference, but to Derek and Danny, I think we've had the conversation before. I fucking hated.
I didn't like him either in this movie. Didn't like him either.
I will tell you, I'm actually in Mike's camp because I am like vaguely having flashbacks of some of these scenes, but I remember disliking this one significantly in comparison to the first two. So
it is the least.
I've also always found Charlie to be a little whiny bitch. So like, like putting him front and center and making that like his core personality just sounds like an awful movie that I don't want to endure.
Yeah, I definitely don't remember this, but I was gonna say it goes beyond what Derek just said. I've always hated Charlie. I've flat out hated him through every movie. So it doesn't it doesn't surprise me that he was more obnoxious here.
Yeah, and I've always kind of jokingly said though, like in the first two movies, maybe not the second one, but definitely the first one, like when you write the script, like Jesse is clearly the heart of the team. Like Jesse is the gatekeeper, Jesse's the guardian. He watches out for his team. Where Charlie is kind of just like this bitch, and the reason why Gordon bonds with him is because he yelled at him one time and felt bad. Like,
well, no, he bonds with him because he wants to fuck his mom. Let's be honest.
That came second. That was the next step. Yes.
No, it's I want to fuck your mom. I yelled at you, so I need to go to your house and apologize so that I can eventually fuck your mom. Like that's the only reason. And look, you can do the whole father figure, whatever. Whatever. That's more of what it is. But you're absolutely right. Like
because even
Jesse is the heart of the team.
Yeah.
Peter, as awful as that guy is, and as that kid is, like people follow him more than they've ever listened to anything Charlie has to say,
or Bombay probably,
or Bombay for that matter.
Charlie bails on the team, and nobody follows him.
That pretty much. So true. I went on a rant with Danny one time. I don't know what your guys' opinion of Sister Act 2 is. I love the movie, but he's pretty much Lauryn Hill, to where he's with the team. He doesn't like the new coach. And so he's like, hey, fuck you, team, and leaves. And then when he comes back, it's like everything's nice. We don't have to get into the Sister Act thing. Like, that's Charlie. Like, I remember there were kids growing up who, like, were really good on the team. And so they would be shitty to everyone else and the coach, and the coaches would put up with it. And I hated it. And that was Charlie. Like, he was such a little shit. He was such a fucking asshole to the new coach. So he quits. Cool. And then he just comes back, and the new coach is like, all right. Cool.
Yeah.
Bombay.
You've learned something about me that makes me feel like I can trust you.
Yeah. And he even, I mean, granted, he was young, but even Joshua Jackson's acting in this, I felt like in 1 and 2, he was a better actor than in 3. I'm not sure if maybe he was given a bigger role and he couldn't handle it, but isn't
there a larger gap between 2 and 3 too? Like, doesn't the 1 and 2
I think there is.
1 and 2 are like a year or two apart. They were like,
2 and 3 are like 4 or 5 years apart.
Yeah,
because you can see the kids grew up, and it's like they are not in high school anymore.
And I'm pretty sure Portman was like pushing 30 in D2, and now he's like, I'm sure he's like 45 in D3.
Not to mention Bull, he's like 40 in that movie.
Which is so funny that Portman is such a butch character. Did you know he's a musical guy? He was in Newsies. Like,
Newsies?
Yeah. He was in Newsies. Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole Portland twist. The whole Portland twist at the end. like as a kid was where, and as an adult I was like, could they just not get him, but he still wanted to do it? You know what I mean? Like the actor, like he still wanted to do it, but like he just didn't have the time or the schedule or whatever. It just kind of was a weird thing.
He might have been doing something else, so they had him for a week on set, and so they had to write down his character like that. That happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the third one, I wish you guys remembered more of it, but it was honestly just the weakest of the three, and
was it theatrically released because it has really straight to video energy.
It does have straight to energy,
but it was theatrically. It was theatrically released.
Yeah, I think it was. I think that gap though that we're talking about, where it's like 5 years after all the clamor and I mean, dude, the Mighty Ducks spawned an actual hockey team, which is just.
Hold up!
I still cannot get over that.
Disney owned the team.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like that is just.
They mentioned that in the third one too.
They do.
Really?
Yeah, Charlie's talking to his girlfriend.
That's right. Yeah, it's a part. Yeah, that is. Look, I know that Disney loves to capitalize on their IP, but like, bro, build a Tomorrowland of the Mighty Ducks. Like you went and bought a professional hockey team off a mildly okay kids movie that we all enjoy, but we've spent the last hour and a half telling you that like it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Do you guys know that because how they introduced the pond in D2, that's where the Goodwill Games are. Yeah. The actors and their stunt skaters were actually the first people to be on the ice before the actual pro team ever did.
Oh shit!
Disgraceful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Danny, anything else about the third that you remember, Derek?
No, we kind of got over that. Like,
I think the main thing about that movie is that they focused on Charlie and they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Because he sucks. I don't know how else to say it. Like he's indeed too. He's like, hey guys, I'm gonna step aside so that Banks can play again, and everyone's like, all right, cool.
Could you do this all the time? Could you do this all the time?
This is great. In fact, when they got to high school, they should be like, Charlie, what would help this team is what if you were the assistant coach again with him?
Going back, I'm going to go back to D2 real quick.
D2's the best one. So.
When Charlie draws up the perfect teamwork play, it involves two people. It involves Cowboy and I think Guy, and that's it. I forgot. Whereas the Flying V is actually the perfect teamwork play, which I looked up, totally legal. It just doesn't work.
It's dumb. Doesn't work.
So all that Danny has taught me is that when you have any underdog story involving kids, the winning move is always an illegal move. The Karate Kid, illegal move. The Flying V, illegal move.
Yep. Little Giants, the annexation of Panama, illegal move.
Puerto Rico, damn it.
Sorry.
I will say a good point about the third one though is that in their little street game they do the Flying V and the varsity just literally fucks them up.
Oh yeah, runs them down.
And they do that in D2.
They do that in D2.
Yeah, the thing
with D2 though is Iceland fucks them up, but then they do it again in the rematch and it works.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But the varsity fucks them up, and then their coach does say like that shit doesn't work anymore. Like this is not like he says like that your little tricks don't work anymore. This is not the Pee-wees. And I was like, okay.
When they got it to work in D2 again, I don't remember this. Did they do some sort of trickery to get, because why would it work a second time when the team that was the whole point about that team is they studied everything that they did.
Yeah.
So
they know all their moves.
The spirits were behind them that time.
All right. The jerseys.
Oh, the Angels?
It's the jerseys.
The Angels got out of the outfield.
Yes.
It was the jerseys. They changed jerseys. They changed jerseys. It worked.
I like that we've just inserted the Mighty Ducks into all kinds of different worlds. We've got people under the stairs, Angels in the outfield. We're just making it all come together.
Look, if Charlie is Hamlet and Bombay is his father,
that makes Riley Claudius.
But who is Rosencrantz and Guildenstern? Who are they? I need to know.
They're dead. It doesn't matter.
That's Peter and Carp.
Peter and Carp. Yeah.
They're in the backgrounds of the second and third movie, looking in.
And Horatio is Jussie Smollett.
Oh Lord.
Ugh.
Oh wow. Get thee
Now,
to a nunnery indeed.
I want to see this version of Hamlet. I really do.
I really do too. This can we call up Baz Luhrmann and just have him do this?
Yes.
And then my Hamlet's a little rusty. Who does Hamlet fight at the end in the duel?
It's an L word.
Laertes.
Laertes. Yeah, Laertes.
Okay. Banks is Laertes.
Yeah. I love it.
Charlie's mom is Gertrude.
Guys, let's wrap this shit
It's
up.
right-
We got a
itself, man.
screenplay to write, guys. We got a screenplay to write.
I hope the actors can come back.
I mean, look, they couldn't get them all for Game Changers, so it's unlikely. I'm just saying.
And you know what? Let's make it a musical, cuz.
Averman's always down to do some work.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts? I think we covered the very realistic and inspirational Mighty Ducks trilogy.
Yeah.
And none of you saw the Game Changer series, right?
I watched the first season, but I never watched the second season.
Yeah, so, I thought the first season, while just as stupidly ludicrous as the Mighty Ducks movies themselves are, was okay. The second season, there was an issue, and they had to pivot on what they were going to do with it. And
because they had a falling out with Emilio Estevez, right?
Yes.
And
it was like regarding COVID or something.
It was,
yeah. It was like
COVID,
real bad, and so
and he was let go. He was dismissed. So
which is not good.
Which is where the first season ended, where he's like an integral part of everything. They had to like do this hard pivot and have them go off to a fucking hockey camp or whatever, so that they were away from their hometown. And I'm not gonna go long on this. I just want to give you guys the broad strokes of Game Changers. Basically, the Mighty Ducks are now the Hawks. They're essentially the Hawks.
I heard that. I kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one kid who gets cut from the team because he's god awful, and then he decides he's gonna make a new team. I think his mom talks him into it or something like that. So just to like keep him happy. It's been a couple years since I've seen it, so I don't fully remember, but they create the new District 5 essentially.
Yeah.
And they like challenged the Mighty Ducks for the name of the team.
Yeah.
Like that's the big end season arc thing. And they get good at hockey way faster than in any of the previous movies. Like it's unrealistic and unjustified how good they get at hockey in the short span of this. Like they play like 2 games or something stupid. But the way Bombay
and to be fair, this is more than just like, kids that are playing hockey but don't have the financing. Like these are kids that don't like, they're all Fultons that don't know how to skate and don't like, they're all like that.
It's the Little Giants, pretty much.
Yeah.
And the way Bombay gets roped into it is that he in typical modern movie making fashion, he is now the angry old guy that as he's not teaching law, not practicing law anymore. He owns a rundown, dilapidated ice rink, and he wants nothing to do with hockey. So like when they come to him to like try to use the rink for hockey practice, he's like, no, like he doesn't want anything to do with that. But then I think you guys will appreciate this. He gets the hots for the new kid's mom.
That's the Gilmore girl, right?
Yeah. And then
Bombay loves those moms, baby. Oh boy.
Yes, he does.
Ooh, he has a flavor. He has a flavor. And he knows it.
Does.
Yep. And then
I know it's in his Pornhub search.
And then he comes around and he starts helping her coach the team.
Sorry, I just imagined Bombay putting in bad hockey players, mom.
Hot mom, hockey MILF.
Yeah, hockeymoms.com, guys.
Good Lord. Oh my God.
So I'm gonna interrupt you. So I having not watched it, I knew the whole like Ducks are now the Hawks kind of thing. So at the end of this, if you saw my face, I was like, wait a second. At the end of number 3, Gordon Bombay is like running the junior like Goodwill game program, and he's still kind of practicing law on the side for free for them. So in some span of time, he's now just runs some fucked up hockey rink.
There was
He started drinking again, is where I'm getting at.
They do address it, but there was some controversy, and he got, I think, kicked out of the Goodwill Games.
Yeah, it has something to do with that. I don't really remember the context, but they do talk about it. Like they do address like why he doesn't want anything to do with this type of thing.
Yeah, and that's why he just like over hockey entirely. But again, he comes around and he starts coaching the kids a little bit, and then inexplicably they become super good, and they have this stupid challenge match with the Mighty Ducks for the name, and they win the name. So, and that's pretty much where the season ends. And then the season 2 begins, and they're going to this hockey camp. This camp is like this elite hockey camp, and the stupidity of it is that the camp invited the Mighty Ducks from the first season, not the Ducks that just won the fucking name. So they all show up, and they're like, you're not them, and they're like, no, but we are. Here's how we won it in a street battle or whatever. And then and they try to send them off, but somehow they finagle their way into staying, and it's just really, really bad. And like the main kid starts having the Charlie complex in the second season. Like he's the new Charlie, and so he follows those same Charlie beats across both seasons, and it was just not good. They did have cameos from the original Ducks. The first season, there was one episode where a bunch of them show up and they have like drinks with Bombay.
Yeah.
I don't think Banks was one of them. Derek, do you remember? I thought
I don't think so. I know it's like Aberman, Fogel,
who?
Who's Fogel?
Foggy. It's it's
Fulton. Okay.
Fulton.
Like Guy is there, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I want to say Vincent LaRusso was in it though, and that's Banks.
I think Banks did show up. I didn't watch it, but I remember seeing that he had showed up.
Okay. I mean, I don't remember. There was one cameo in the second season, I want to say. Maybe it was him. But yeah, I don't fully remember. But the cameos were pretty disappointing. Like I know everybody wanted Charlie to show up, and a lot of speculation was that he was going to show up in the second season, which he did not. And frankly, I don't care because I hate Charlie. So it didn't matter to me. But I don't think it's coming back for a third season. I
don't think so.
I think I got ended after that.
Yeah.
Good.
So,
good.
Yeah. Well, this was fun, guys.
Yeah. Went a little longer than I thought we would, but that's fun.
This is fun. I didn't realize we could talk about Mighty Ducks for 2.5 hours, but here we are.
Brother. Yeah. All that said, I love the fuck out of those movies.
Yeah, no, they're great.
Even the third one, which I hate because Charlie's in it for way too long, I still like it.
What I have learned from your wonderful recap is that I am only going to rewatch 1 and 2, and I still have no interest to revisit 3. That's what I have learned.
Yeah, if I ever watch 3, I'm just going to watch this video back and check out Mike's explanation of it.
Yeah, whenever I'm curious, that's what I'm going to do.
New podcast, Glennie recaps movies. All right.
So if we're signing off, I feel like I know how we need to do this, right? So like, I'm Michael from Ontario, California.
That's what we'll go out on. Hey, Russ, South Central Los Angeles is not the format we're going with. City, state, not neighborhood city.
I thought you were going to go with quack. Quack.
I'm not doing it.
Quack.
I'm not doing
quack.
it. No.
Quack. All right, whatever.
I almost started.
Mike pulled his inner Peter out and was, oh, well, that sounds awful, but
that's weird.
Hey, you know our slogan, guys, dicks fly together. Or sorry.
Inner Peter, I think it's an outer Peter.
Wow. Okay.
Do you have an innie?
That got weird fast. Jesus. Oh Lord. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, this was a blast, guys. I
Yeah.
had a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll do it again sometime with the Little Giants or Heavyweights or any other little childhood movie that we want to tear apart.
Yeah, I love
I mean, Heavyweights is
Sandlot.
very absurd.
Yeah, The Sandlot. That's another good one.
Sandlot, man.
This will be a recurring theme. They tear apart the movies you love.
In fact, there's 3 Sandlots. I've only seen the first one, but we
I saw one of the other ones. And it was awful.
Yeah, I would
Yes,
imagine
it was.
it would be.
I imagine very little, or I remember very little about it.
Yeah.
All right, Danny, take us out.
All right. Thanks, guys, for watching. This has been The Fake Philosophers. We will talk at you later.
Recording stopped. Stop recording. There we go.